Hello, Jacob here, with a two-part Minnesota sports video. So without further ado, let's get into it. So yeah, as I said before, this will be another two-part video just because, holy moly, the Vikings have signed a lot of new players, including some big names, and also the Minnesota Wild have continued a really good stretch, minus, well, a second half of a doubleheader that, well, let's just say yikes. But anyway, so let's go ahead and start off with the Minnesota Vikings part of the video. And first off, cheers. Nothing like drinking some local beer. And this particular one is from the Surly Brewing Company in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Their Key Lime Supreme. It's actually pretty good. But anyway, on to the Minnesota Vikings. So, as I mentioned before, these will be the free agents we have signed. There's still a few pretty decent names, though, that'll be curious to see what happens. Mainly Eric Wilson and, like, Eddie Yarborough and those guys. And, of course, who is going to be our backup quarterback. But anyway, I'll just kind of keep an eye on those, because obviously we're not in a huge hurry for that at this point, especially with all the names that are still out there. But anyway, the first signing, at least in alphabetical order, according to the Minnesota Vikings website, is Ameer Abdul, who is a very underrated running back for us, especially now with Mike Boone going to Denver. He will kind of anchor our third string as well as our special teams unit. So, like I say, Ameer Abdullah has been around for a few years, and he's had a few pretty good games for us when he has the opportunity, including a couple touchdowns against Detroit, and also in 2019, when we were down in Kansas City, he had a pretty big game for us as well. All things considered, so nice depth signing behind both Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison. I mean, like I say, you can never have enough quality running backs, especially the way the NFL is these days. But of course, the next one on the list, and in my opinion, probably one of the biggest signings that'll really help us out, a la Terrence Newman, is Patrick Peterson. Yes. I mean, good golly almighty, we really could use the secondary help. Especially because I'm pretty sure Mike Zimmer this offseason basically said, yeah, we really don't have a lot of time for these youth. You know, I mean, you know, with like Dantzler and Gladney and those guys, they will be pretty big for us in the future, but unfortunately, the way the NFC North is with guys like Devontae Adams and, you know, Denzel Mims and, you know, Allen Robinson and all that, you know, I mean, kind of need some good quality secondary help right away. So, but Patrick Peterson will be huge. Even if he's not the same Patrick Peterson he was in Arizona a few years back. At the very least, like I say, it will kind of be like a Terrence Newman, in which he will sort of mentor the youth and move them forward here. But yeah, Patrick Peterson is a massive signing. Massive signing. And of course, if you know anything about Patrick Peterson, well, yeah. And of course, we bring back another receiver in Chad Beebe, who honestly was a pretty good player for us. Yeah, sure. I mean, he did have his issues with injuries and, well, some bad returns and all that stuff. But again, overall, solid player. Nick Vigil will sort of help anchor our linebacking core. Originally from Cincinnati. There we go. I know we were looking at some other players from Cincinnati, too, on the defense, including a rumor, but again, I'm not going to mention that unless we actually sign him because, well, I've heard plenty of rumors about Vikings teams being interested in certain players, but yeah. Anyway, but yeah, like I say, Nick Vigil will add depth to our linebacking group and our special teamers. And, I mean, like I say, you can never have too many good linebackers. defensive players in general, especially with, when we had all those injuries to our linebacking core last year. Hoof, baby. Anyway, like I say, you saw the videos. And of course, in my opinion, probably the biggest, no pun intended here, our biggest signing is Dalvin Tomlinson. Especially because Michael Pierce will be back this year, so we'll actually have a defensive tackle group kind of similar to the Williams Wall, but I'm not going to say the Williams Wall because, well, the Williams Wall it's literally, I mean, if you're a Vikings fan, you know the Williams Wall. But again, it'll be interesting to see because, again, we finally have our 3-tech back, and we finally also have our beef eater in Michael Pierce, so I'm excited because, again, our defensive line could be scary this year. And, of course, Rashad Hill comes back as a tackle for us, and Stephen Weatherly as one of our ends. You can never go wrong there. But the one player that I'm kind of the most interested in is Mason Cole, the Arizona Cardinals player that we traded for a 6th rounder for. Because he's normally a center, but I heard rumors that we want to try to join him as a guard. So it'll be interesting to see. But also with that, there's been a couple more signings since this, according to the Vikings website, which isn't 100% updated at this point. But Mac Alexander is back. Thank God. Because our nickel and our dime secondary last year was woof. Well, to be fair, our secondary in general was woof. But anyway. Yikes. Yeah. I need more beer to drink that away, because yikes. That was like 2013 Vikings. 2012, I mean, when our secondary couldn't stop a damn cold. So yeah. I mean, that is huge for us. And also, Xavier Woods, former safety from Dallas, will be taking over the Anthony Harris spot. And Anthony Harris is now in Philadelphia. Yeah, now you see why I don't do a lot of free agency, because, yeah, this free agency has been absolutely nuts. So, yeah. Stay tuned, because, like I say, as I have more Vikings news and all that stuff, we'll be sure to break in, because free agency, again, this year has been kind of crazy. So, yeah. In conclusion, the defense, for the most part on the Vikings, should be no issue. Now it's just off to hopefully draft some offensive linemen and some key pieces in general. So now, on to the Wild news. Yeah. The Wild had another about 4 to 5 game homestand where they won every single game. The Wild are currently, give me one sec here. If I remember right, we're 29-1. But I just want to double check here. Yeah, we're currently 21-10-1 actually. Because last I knew we were like, yeah, I mean, the Wild this year, honestly, the Wild this year have looked, this might be one of the best teams I've seen just overall in general. Because, wow. I mean, other than getting our, what's handed to us to the Avalanche, but to be fair, though, they also literally smacked around the Golden Knights a couple nights ago, so why? Because Colorado. I don't know if you know anything about the Avalanche. Well, I mean, to be fair, though, the Avalanche were mentioned as one of the top teams in the West to win the Stanley Cup. And, I mean, again, I can't say I don't blame them because the Avalanche are scary good. Even though the Arizona Coyotes beat them in overtime on a night where another really, really big issue happened. Does Tim Peel ring a bell to anyone? Yeah. Let's just say that was an interesting thing. I guess I can kind of dive into this here. But basically, Tim Peel was caught on a hot mic during the Preds-Red Wings game on Tuesday, basically saying, well, you probably know this by now, but let's just say he wanted to call a fucking penalty on Nashville early because of a makeup call against Detroit, which, well, if anyone knows anything about sports, that's kind of an issue that happens a lot. But again, there's plenty of other YouTubers and hockey YouTubers especially that have already gone over that, but let's just say, again, this is nothing new there, and, well, unfortunately, it happens. Just because, again, they're human. But anyway, so anyway, back to the Wild. I mean, whoo, boy, I'll tell you what, though, against Anaheim, there's some massive fights there. Like, Cramarosa got into it with Jones for the Ducks. And then literally 2 minutes later, Carson Soucy gets in it with Ryan Getzlaf. And if anyone knows anything about Ryan Getzlaf, he kind of does this for a living. So, I mean, there's a lot of physicality there. Cam Talbot had another shutout against St. Louis, who had, I want to say it was like, yeah, they... let's just say St. Louis outshot us badly, and we ended up winning it 2-0. Let me quick see if I can actually find out the overall results here, but ooh, baby. I mean, yeah, there was yikes. I think they outshot us. It was like 30-something to, let me quick see if I can actually find the results here, but yeah, it was like yikes. Yeah, it was like basically it was kind of similar to the Colorado Avalanche where they had like 50 shots against us, but unlike Colorado, we actually stopped every single one of their shots. And also, since then, too, I kind of was streaming the Anaheim-St. Louis game, and yikes. So anyway, yeah, let's just say Anaheim might have destroyed the Blues. But, again, like I said, we still have 7 more games against the Blues, so I'm not going to, hold back anything there. Especially because, well, literally, the opening face-off, Ryan Hartman fights Braden Shen. So, yeah. Like I said, I really didn't see the fight because I was at work at the time, but oof. Let's just say, yeah. Had a couple of shots by Johansson and Kaprizov, ironically enough. 2-0, and now we are, as I said before, 21-10-1. Third place overall in the West, only behind Colorado and, well, Vegas. So, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see just how this season ends up. But right now, cheers. I mean, it's been, like I say, this might be one of the best Wild team I've seen in a while. Even though they finally get more than 1 day's rest. Which is like the first time in about a month they've had multiple days off in a row, which will only help them because, well, let's just say injuries have started affecting us. And also, Parise being on COVID protocol. I don't know if you remember that. I was a little nervous if that game, the last game against Anaheim, was even going to happen because, well, I don't know if you know this, but back in February, the Wild were out for 2 weeks. So, let's just say 2020, 2021 sports seasons have been anything but normal. And also stay tuned too, because I know the Twins will be starting up here in roughly about 4 to 5 days' time. So, yeah. Like I say, that'll pretty much wrap up this video for now. Stay tuned because I do, well, hopefully, I'll have a new jersey on the way. Like I say, I'm kind of in the process of switching my Reebok jerseys for Adidas jerseys, so, but we'll wait and see, just because I did get a message from the guy I bought it from saying there's some issues going on in his life, so hopefully everything turns out well, and hopefully within about a week and a half or so, I'll have the jersey. And once I do, I'll be sure to let you guys know. And, yeah. So until we meet again, this is Jacob. Have a good night.